Have you reached the point where you feel like giving up? Have you searched for answers everywhere only to find closed doors? Let me tell you something. You are not here by accident. This may be the moment when your faith unlocks the miracle you've been longing for. Today, we will pray together to Saint Anthony of Padua, the patron saint of the impossible, the restorer of what's lost. This prayer could be the key that transforms your situation, but you must listen with an open heart, with sincere faith, and above all, without interruption. Stay until the end, because within these words may lie the answer you've been waiting for. Leave this phrase of faith in the comments. Saint Anthony, act with power in my life today. Subscribe, share this prayer with anyone in need, and get ready, because your miracle could begin at this very moment. O Saint Anthony of Padua, faithful servant of God and powerful intercessor of the afflicted, today I lift my heart to you with a profound and urgent cry. I come before your presence not in pride or arrogance, but in the humility of someone whose strength has been exhausted, whose resources have run dry, and whose hope is now anchored only in heaven. I approach you in this moment, Saint Anthony, with the weight of an impossible need upon my shoulders, a need that feels too great for human hands to carry, and too tangled for human wisdom to untangle. My heart has been burdened for too long. My mind has been clouded with fear, and my spirit has grown weary from waiting and struggling without seeing a way forward. You who have been called the wonder worker, the finder of what is lost, the helper of those in desperate situations, I turn to you now with everything inside me crying out for help. There is no longer any solution that I can see on my own. The doors around me appear shut, the paths blocked, and every effort I make seems to lead me further into the shadows. And so, Saint Anthony, I surrender. I surrender not in defeat, but in faith. I lay down every attempt to fix this situation myself, and I place it entirely into your compassionate and capable hands. You who held the infant Jesus in your arms, who carried the flame of divine love wherever you went, understand the depths of human suffering. You know what it feels like to witness pain, to hear the cries of the hopeless, to walk among those who believed all was lost. And yet you also know the sweetness of miracles, the joy of witnessing God's mercy breaking through in impossible situations. I believe with all my heart that you have the power, through your intercession, to bring about such mercy in my life today. Saint Anthony, as I pray, I open my heart completely. I pour out every worry, every fear, every anxious thought that has plagued me for so long. I refuse to hold anything back, for I know that you already see the full picture of my situation, the hidden details, the silent tears, the words I cannot even find to express my anguish. Nothing is hidden from your loving gaze, and nothing is too small or too great for your prayers to touch. I beg you, with all the sincerity of my heart, to take this urgent need and present it before the throne of God. Plead for me with the same fervor and compassion you showed to the countless souls who sought your help throughout history. Let your prayers rise like incense before heaven, carrying my desperate plea with them, infused with the love and mercy that only you can bring. I know, Saint Anthony, that you are not merely a saint of lost objects, but a guide for lost souls, a refuge for the weary, a friend to the hopeless. And so I cling to your intercession with unwavering faith, believing that what is impossible for me is possible through your prayers. I believe that the miracle I seek is not beyond the reach of heaven's hand, and that you, as God's faithful servant, have been entrusted with the grace to assist those who have no other place to turn. In this moment of prayer, I surrender not only my need, but also my heart. I let go of every desire to control the outcome, and instead open myself to the miracle that God desires to send, whether it comes in the way I expect or in a way that surprises me. I trust that heaven's ways are higher than mine, and that the answer I receive will be the one that truly aligns with God's perfect will for my life. Saint Anthony, I ask that you fill my heart with peace as I wait. Let your comforting presence ease the turmoil inside me. Help me to feel your nearness and to know that I am not alone in this struggle. Even as I wait for the visible signs of change, help me to trust that heaven is already working behind the scenes, orchestrating every detail with love and precision. Guide me to release every ounce of fear and to embrace hope with both hands. Teach me how to wait with grace, to speak words of faith instead of doubt, and to focus not on the obstacles, but on the greatness of God's love. Remind me over and over again that miracles are not about my worthiness, but about God's infinite mercy. And so, with every breath, I continue to pray, believing that even now your intercession is making a difference. I believe that the walls blocking my path are beginning to crumble, that the doors closed to me are slowly opening, and that the light of hope is breaking through the darkness of despair. I surrender all, Saint Anthony. I surrender my timeline, my expectations, my fears, and even my doubts. I surrender the situation itself, trusting fully that your prayers will lead me to the miracle I seek. And as I release all of this to you, I do so with the expectation that my heart will soon rejoice, my burden will soon be lifted, and my soul will soon be filled with the joy of answered prayer. O Saint Anthony of Padua, as I continue this prayer, I feel your comforting presence surrounding me like a soft but powerful embrace, reminding me that I am not walking through this storm alone. Though the situation I face remains unresolved in the physical world, I sense a shift within my soul, a deepening peace that comes from trusting fully in your intercession and in God's perfect love. Saint Anthony, you know well the struggles of human hearts weighed down by anxiety, confusion, and helplessness. You walked among the suffering, you ministered to those who had lost everything, and you never turned away from anyone in need. You became a shining light for those who wandered in darkness, a source of hope for those drowning in despair. And today, in this moment of prayer, I feel your compassionate heart reaching out to mine, offering strength where there was weakness, courage where there was fear, and peace where there was turmoil. I thank you for reminding me that I am not forgotten, that my prayer is not unheard, and that heaven is actively moving on my behalf, even when all I see around me appears unchanged. In your loving arms, Saint Anthony, I find refuge from the worries that try to consume me. You remind me that waiting is not a punishment, but a sacred space where my faith is strengthened and where my heart is prepared for the blessing that lies ahead. Today, I ask you to shield me from every force that tries to steal my hope. Protect my mind from the whispers of doubt that creep in during quiet moments. Guard my heart from despair that threatens to harden it. Defend my spirit from the temptation to give up and walk away from this prayer too soon. Surround me with your heavenly protection and cover my life with your powerful intercession, so that I may remain steadfast and unshaken, no matter how long this waiting may last. Saint Anthony, I confess that there are times when the weight of uncertainty feels overwhelming. The longer I wait, the more tempting it becomes to believe that nothing is changing, that no help is coming, that my prayers are simply echoing back to me in vain. But I refuse to give in to that hopelessness. With every breath, I choose to renew my trust in you and in the miracle-working power of heaven. I choose to see this waiting period not as empty silence, but as a quiet preparation for something greater than I can imagine. I ask that you increase my patience, Saint Anthony, that you grant me the grace to persevere through every trial that comes my way. Let me remember that many of the most beautiful miracles are not sudden flashes of light, but gradual transformations that unfold over time. Help me to embrace this process with grace and to remain open to the lessons that God wishes to teach me during this journey. In the quiet of this prayer, I now begin to release every ounce of resistance within me. I surrender every timeline, every demand for immediate answers, and every urge to rush the process. Instead, I allow myself to sink deeper into this sacred stillness, trusting that what is meant for me will never be withheld, and that your prayers are already carrying my request straight into the heart of heaven. Saint Anthony, I ask that you also help me grow in gratitude, even as I wait. Teach me to see the blessings that are already present in my life, those quiet graces that I often overlook when my heart is fixated on what I feel I lack. Help me to notice the small miracles that surround me every day, the kindness of others, the strength that carries me through each moment, the peace that visits my heart when I least expect it. Remind me that gratitude is itself a form of prayer, one that opens my heart wider to receive even greater blessings. As I pray, I feel your guiding presence leading me away from fear and into deeper trust. You show me that I am not powerless in this situation, because every prayer I offer, every act of faith I make, becomes a ripple in the spiritual realm, stirring movement that I cannot yet see with my human eyes. You remind me that the most powerful miracles often begin in the unseen, where God's hand is weaving together every detail with perfect precision and timing. O Saint Anthony, keep my heart anchored in hope. Let no delay, no obstacle, no doubt ever pull me away from the certainty that my miracle is already unfolding according to God's plan. Teach me how to speak words of life and faith over this situation, rejecting every thought of defeat or despair. Let my words become declarations of trust, calling forth the goodness of heaven into every corner of my life. I now take this time to pray not only for myself, but also for others who are waiting for their miracles, who may feel just as desperate and afraid as I once did. I lift them to you, asking that your love and your prayers reach them wherever they are. Bless them with the same peace you are giving me now. Let their hearts be strengthened through this prayer, and let them know that they too are not alone. Saint Anthony, you have shown me that miracles are not reserved for the few, but available to all who seek with open hearts and persistent faith. I believe that my miracle is not only possible, but certain. I believe that the door that seemed locked is already being opened by unseen hands. I believe that the light of hope is shining brighter, guiding me toward the fulfillment of this prayer. Thank you, Saint Anthony, for being my advocate, my protector, and my guide. Thank you for your patience in walking this journey with me, never turning away from my repeated cries, but instead drawing me closer to heaven with each word I pray. Thank you for standing between me and the storms of life, for being a strong refuge in the chaos, and for teaching me that peace is always possible even before the miracle fully arrives. O Saint Anthony, beloved servant of God and trusted intercessor, as I enter this final part of my prayer, I feel an overwhelming sense of peace begin to flood my heart. It is as though every word I have spoken, every tear I have shed, and every moment of waiting has led me to this very place, a sacred space of complete surrender and total trust. No longer am I bound by the chains of desperation, for through this prayer I have found freedom in surrender, strength in letting go, and profound hope in knowing that my miracle is already underway. I now speak to you not from a place of pleading, but from a place of assurance, believing with unwavering faith that the help I have sought has already been granted in the invisible realms of heaven. Though I may not yet see the evidence with my physical eyes, I know with every fiber of my being that the miracle has begun to take shape, that the tides have shifted in my favor, and that the answer is closer than I could ever imagine. In this sacred moment, I release every remaining doubt, every lingering worry, and I open my heart fully to the beauty of divine providence. O Saint Anthony, how many times have you witnessed the miraculous unfold before your very eyes? How often have you seen the hopeless restored, the lost found, and the impossible made possible? You, who walked this earth with such humility and compassion, know well the power of heaven to intervene in even the most desperate situations. And now I choose to believe that my life, too, has been touched by that same power through your intercession. I believe that every prayer I have spoken has reached the ears of the Almighty, and that your loving voice has carried my plea directly to the heart of God. I thank you, Saint Anthony, not only for what you have done, but for who you are, a friend to the lost, a refuge for the desperate, and a beacon of hope for those who walk in darkness.
Your love knows no boundaries, your mercy knows no limits, and your willingness to help those in need reflects the very heart of God Himself. In your hands my prayer has been safe, and in your heart my suffering has found compassion. Now I declare with boldness and joy that my miracle is here. It is unfolding in perfect timing, according to God's divine plan. I release the need to know exactly how or when it will fully manifest, because I trust that the one who holds all things in His hands is orchestrating every detail with love, wisdom, and precision. I am no longer afraid, for fear has no place in the presence of such faith. I am no longer restless, for my soul has been calmed by the assurance that heaven is working all things together for my good.
Saint Anthony, I promise that when my miracle becomes visible, I will not remain silent. I will testify to the goodness of God and to the power of your intercession. I will share my story with others, that they too may find hope in their darkest moments. I will become a witness to the truth that miracles are not relics of the past, but living realities that continue to happen every day in the lives of those who dare to believe. I also commit to honoring the miracle by using it for good. If it is a healing, I will extend compassion to others who suffer. If it is restoration, I will become a source of hope for those who feel broken. If it is provision, I will share generously with others in need. I recognize that every blessing comes with a responsibility to spread love, to build peace, and to glorify God through every action and word. As I close this prayer, I feel the burdens lifting completely from my heart. The weight I once carried has been replaced with lightness, freedom, and a profound sense of peace. I know that I will walk forward from this moment changed, not just because I have asked for a miracle, but because I have been transformed through the process of seeking, surrendering, and trusting. I thank you, Saint Anthony, for being by my side through every step of this journey, for hearing my cries when no one else could, for holding my heart with tender care, and for leading me closer to God's loving embrace. I will forever remember this time of prayer as a turning point, a sacred moment where despair gave way to hope, where fear was replaced by faith, and where the impossible became possible. Today, I stand in gratitude, in joy, and in unwavering faith. My miracle is no longer just a hope. It is a reality in the making. My heart rejoices, knowing that heaven has heard and responded. And I rest now in the calm assurance that all is well, all is unfolding as it should, and all has been placed into the hands of divine love. Thank you, Saint Anthony, for everything you have done and for everything you will continue to do in my life and in the lives of all who seek your help. I close this prayer with confidence, peace, and a heart overflowing with gratitude. Amen.